playing for us soon. I just want to take a moment and just say that we have some wonderful art installations here. One of them is by Name Brown here, a teacher and artist at the Oakland School for the Arts. And I think this is the King T'Challa dynasty as an inspiration. And then Mark Harris over here in this corner has another wonderful installation, so I invite you all to check it out, okay? And then, of course, we have Connie from Afro Comic Con, who's outside and sharing about her organization. And then again, Rashawn from Cedar Publishing, who's selling the Unveiling Visions catalog book and several other works as well. So I'm going to be spending some money here today. But anyway, and then again, so let's go forward. We're gonna again, Destiny Mohammed. We're so lucky to have her on the harp and singing her tunes. I mean, playing her tunes. And anyway, with no further ado, we're gonna have Dr. Ricky Melandro and his capoeira school. Okay.
Thank you. Hi everybody, my name is P. Nanya, and we are the Felix Geneva California School of Capoeira. So two of my classmates here are gonna do a little demonstration. I want you guys' eyes to be on them. I'm just gonna say a few things so you guys just listen to my words, okay? So what you're watching is called the sequencia. It was created by Mestre Bimba and is the first method of teaching capoeira. This 8-part sequence consists of 17 basic offensive, defensive, and counterattack movements that is taught to beginners in a simplified form. This allows the student to see capoeira as a system of attack and defense within a very short period of time. Once the student is able to demonstrate the sequencia, then they are ready to play capoeira. So capoeira is an Afro-Brazilian art form. It is one of the strongest representations of African culture in Brazil. When the Portuguese were captured and forced, when the Portuguese captured and forced the Africans to work on their sugar plantations, the Africans began to blend their cultural bites, music, dances, and games away from the prying eyes of the slave masters. Capoeira became the weapon of the oppressed against the oppressor and a symbol of liberation. It was formerly made illegal, punishable by whippings and imprisonment. Capoeira faced harsh discrimination and persecution and would have met extinction if it weren't for Manuel dos Reis Machado, most commonly known as Mestre Bimba. Mestre Bimba, an African descendant, no longer wanted capoeira to be persecuted and looked down upon by society. A philosophical warrior, he felt capoeira was not just a form of self-defense, but also a means of self-control and education. In the late 1920s, Mestre Bimba used his knowledge of primitive capoeira that later became known as capoeira Angola in the African fight called the Batuque, and developed this first method to teach capoeira. Because capoeira was still illegal at that time, he called his art Luta Regional Baiana, which means the regional fight of the Bay. Years later, Mestre Bimba was allowed to open a school and openly teach what now became known as Capoeira Regional. Due to his courage and sacrifice, capoeira is now practiced in over 80 countries with more than 120 million practitioners around the world. The Felix Bimba California School of Capoeira comes from the direct lineage of Mestre Bimba. Mestre Nenel, the son of Mestre Bimba, taught his father's principles, traditions, and methodology of Capoeira Regional to Professor Malandro. Now you're about to see a Capoeira Regional performance. Enjoy.
This is their warm-up. Now that they're all one. Yeah. Bay Area School of Capoeira. I'm catching my breath. And it's a pleasure to be here and to share this African manifestation that was built on resistance. Its essence is liberation. So these movements, even though my students are from various cultural backgrounds, ethnicities, they're learning African ancestral movements that was used to liberate them from slavery. And even though it's done in a game setting, a playful game setting, you can see if the person isn't paying attention, you can get caught. And that's how Capoeira started off, as a fight. Later on, it developed more as a game. But the essence is still there for resistance, liberation. And again, it's a pleasure. There'll be more things for us to share with you guys as far as passing on some basic movements, because I would like you guys to experience Capoeira rather than just witness Capoeira, because then you take that with you. And yeah, thank you guys so much.
Really so glad that we're able to perform, and they will be performing throughout the day. So just so glad. Now, Dr. Milanto's a little humble. Along with his troupe, he also was one of 1,000 people selected to help advise the Black Panther film on the last choreographic fight sequences. And he's also in the sequel, or not the sequel, but the next movie, The Avengers. And so let's give a hand to bringing that art form alive. And I really do want the Wakabi tunic that you were wearing in that film. So we're trying to get that. We're working on that. But anyway, he's a fantastic artist, and I'm so grateful to have him share Capoeira with us and with his school, and for their fantastic performance. So let's give him another hand. Very much.
I don't know everyone's time frame, but there is like little flyers and information at the desk right outside in case anyone is curious about trying Capoeira, having their kids do Capoeira. I work with a lot of youth, not just passing on the movement, but doing mentoring as well, because one, there's not a lot of martial arts that you think, hey, what martial art is of African origin? And not, less than 5 things may come to mind to certain people that you really search for. And then also, how many Black people are teaching this art form? That's a small number as well. So I'm very grateful for this responsibility and also for this opportunity. So there's more information, little flyers, or you guys can see me once we take a break. All right,
Thank you. So now we have our first panel on Afrofuturism in literature and art. And our moderator will be Naomi Brown with our panelists. And if our panelists could come up to the front and sit on the table. And also, can you scoot up more now? If you can scoot your chairs up a little bit more, we don't have to have a ride golf between us.